The Sonic mythos holds a lot of strong characters, and some of them are terrifying. And one of which I'm going to tell you about today is one of our participants in this next episode, and his name is Mephiles the Dark. Now, there's a lot to this character, and I honestly think that he's one of the most well-written Sonic video game villains, even though I never actually finished the game. More on that in another video, probably. But let's focus on his backstory. Mephiles is the intent and will of in the Sonic mythos, sun god Solaris. An experiment with one of the royals of Soliana wanted to harness the time manipulating power of Solaris. But in the end, it conducted in a failed experiment, creating two completely different and overall very conflicting characters. One represented the power of Solaris, and the other represented the will of Solaris. Mephiles is a character who is sealed within the Scepter of Shadows by, fittingly enough, a time-traveling Shadow the Hedgehog. And when he was eventually released, 10 years later, when Shadow, Rouge, and Robotnik and Eggman were in a scuffle, Mephiles was released, and, of course, took the form of our beloved Shadow the Hedgehog, more specifically, his shadow.
What? His shadow.
Oh, how ironic fate can be. I would never have believed I would be resurrected through your shade. I thank you, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Fittingly enough, being the will of the Sonic Mythos' version of a sun god, he primarily uses powers affiliated with shadows and darkness, such as traveling through someone's shadow, generating giant clones, creating terrain made out of shadowy liquid, as shown in his second phase boss fight and in Shadow Generations, and he also has a type of energy manipulation, specifically through energy blasts and a prism light based lance, which he used to kill Sonic. Yeah. The reason why he did this is so he could free Iblis, who was within the girl next to Sonic, Elise, Princess of Soliana. And also the catalyst of one of the most iconic scenes for the worst reasons of all time. Basically, because Iblis and Mephiles were two halves of the same coin, Mephiles wanted to utilize the Chaos Emeralds to fuse himself back with Iblis to become the actual sun god in the Sonic mythos, Solaris, aka this thing. Honestly, it has a really cool design. But he is also one of the most powerful Sonic final bosses in the entirety of the franchise. Literally. Solaris is as stated, a super-dimensional being who exists within the past, present, and future, and also likes to consume timelines. Basically, he has the power of effectively threatening the entire Sonic cosmology, which is also in itself complicated. Because Sonic and the IDW comics are effectively canon, because they do follow the same events as the games, I'll stray away from them as most as I can since I'm focusing on the games. But Solaris can effectively he can effectively devour, he can basically consume multiple infinite dimensions within the Sonic cosmology. And it took 3 supers to beat him. But what's even funnier...
What is this? A seal of some sort?
is that he comes back. In Shadow Generations, which is canon, Shadow encounters Mephiles a 3rd time, and this time, Mephiles can actually keep up with him in lore. Basically meaning he is able to match Shadow and Sonic during this time, and let's just say they have gotten a lot stronger since then. Actually, stronger than Solaris at that point, since the Time Eater can do effectively the same stuff Solaris can do on a grander scale. Speaking of, is that the Time Eater is, as mentioned, able to manipulate a higher level of power that Solaris can, because of the sheer fact that 1, it was modified by Eggman to be even stronger, and the fact that Sonic himself gets stronger over time as the series progresses, as proven when he fought Infinite and said exactly that. And Infinite is stronger than both Solaris and Time Eater, as literally said in guidebooks, to be one of Sonic's most powerful enemies yet, as said over here. We'll focus on, but going off track, it's just the point here is that Sonic does grow stronger over time, as does Shadow, since the two are directly equal to each other, with Shadow having a slight advantage in power over the two. It should be stated that this is confirmed. So, with all that said, how the heck did they win? Well, because of what Eggman said about Solaris existing in both its past, present, and future, basically across all of Sonic Cosmology's timelines, they'd have to take him out simultaneously throughout all of them, which they did. And this took the 3 hedgehogs manipulating time, which is something all can do through the use of chaos control, and they absorb the chaos emeralds, and most people get the gist at this point. Basically, they manipulated space-time and effectively noped him out of existence, and effectively erased him from existence. At least that's the idea. Unfortunately, during the event of Sonic 06, Elise shows Sonic a candle where everything started, Sonic blows it out, and then Sonic 06's entire canon events are effectively removed. Except for Silver. Silver's still around. But just proves that this was one of the toughest opponents to face in the entirety of the Sonic franchise, and unfortunately it was in a game that ran terribly, had a lot of exploits involving a certain Red Echidna, and also just had a wacky but still compelling plot when it came to its characters. But hey, that's just how most games are. So yeah, just be glad that this guy isn't around to start consuming all of time and space. Alright, so we already got through Solaris, which was the main focus of the last video. Now we can focus on Mephiles himself. And this one will have feats that are actually calculable, specifically in power. There aren't that many speed feats that are calculable since I used a certain scaling here. Also, quick disclaimer here, while I didn't use AI to generate the info, it was an assistant that I fact-checked the entire time. So, forgive me if any of the info is wrong, I will actually fix it. But, let's start off with the first feat I used in that thread, and that is the final Egg Blaster from Sonic Battle. The final Egg Blaster is a cannon attached to the Death Egg, aka Dr. Eggman's Death Star inspired orbital moon, which he used to brag to Emerald, the custom character. He used it and destroyed a whole constellation of stars. This equated to about, as shown in the assistant said that it was about 2.07 exafo or multi-solar system. And that's pretty high. Very high, actually. Which also tracks with this. Now, this is incredible. But the fact that Mephiles actually surpasses this makes him far stronger. But, for now, this is the baseline. So, now what for speed? Well, for speed, I used Sonic CD, which is a game where Sonic can move so fast he creates an entire time warp. Which, as mentioned in the name, allows you to warp through time. Now, if you don't believe that this can be used, then remember the last video where I said that Mephiles returns in Sonic Generations? Oh, Shadow Generations? Both Sonic and Shadow restore space and time by running through their respective stages and memories in the white space. Basically confirming them at a measurable speed. Which is what happens if your speed goes beyond the time equation. AKA speed equals time divided by distance, I believe. And since time is out of the equation, that means it literally cannot be calculated. This is mostly all of it, but I'm going to give you a bit more in-depth about Mephiles' abilities. Mephiles, as mentioned in the last video, his base form powers rely basically on his shadows and darkness, with only a few select light-based attacks, including, but not limited to, traveling through shadows, generating lances and spears from his hand, created primarily by light, utilizing space and time via the Chaos Emerald he usually has on him, and generating multiple different clones of multiple different sizes. They can be about as big as your average Mobian, or around the same size as Shadow and Sonic, to literal giant golems, like half-body golems. He can also generate different parts of terrain via the use of creating a domain of liquefied dark energy, which he uses to manipulate the terrain, travel through it, and also generate illusions. Basically, he can teleport as well, and also effectively can trick your sonic perception. Because, as shown in Silver's story, I believe, he can generate clones of himself as well, like ones that look just like him, instead of looking like a random one-eyed monster, as in the cutscene. But he also wields the Flames of Disaster if he combines it via Iblis, who is a being made entirely of incredibly powerful fire that was so strong when Blaze tried stealing Iblis within two different Chaos Emeralds, it killed her. Like, literally killed her. Yeah. That's really all I have for you. It was just to go over Mephiles' base stats, since I realized when looking back at the video that I focused entirely on Solaris and not Mephiles or Iblis. So, yeah. This would be a part of the compilation. See ya.